Hey guys, welcome back to the Birds Party channel. Today I'm bringing you some easy, inexpensive and so pretty DIY craft projects to help you decorate for Christmas. Christmas is my absolute favorite time of year and I love to craft different decor each year for my home, and this year I'm into a really calming feel, natural look for my Christmas decor. So these craft projects reflect that, but obviously feel free to change up the colors and the styles to suit your own taste. And the first DIY craft project that I'm going to share is how to make these vellum candle holders. And the idea for this project came about when I saw these vellum sheets at my local craft store, and they were just perfect for this project. And basically this is so easy and so inexpensive as well. So if you can't find the exact same vellum sheets, I'm sure you can find something similar at your local craft store, Dollar Tree, or even online. And the idea basically is to wrap a cylinder or a candle holder or a jam jar or anything that you have that is glass and round and with smooth edges, and we're just basically going to secure it with some transparent sticky tape. How easy was that? So for my project here I used 3 different diameters of vases or candle holders, and then basically I just trimmed the paper around. But for a couple of the glass containers that I used, the paper was not long enough. So if you can't find a long sheet of vellum, you can just basically tape 2 A4 sheets together. And as you can see here on this candle holder, I used some double-sided sticky tape directly on the vase or on the candle holder to help secure the paper in place. And then basically you just wrap it around and just trim off the excess. It could not be easier. And this project, what I like about it is that it's super easy. As you can see, it's inexpensive, but it also comes together pretty quickly, and you can change up the look depending on what your style is. For instance, for my style, I'm using golds, greens, with a little bit of wood. So this is the kind of vellum paper that I use. But say next year, if I change my decor style or the decor of my home, the colors, you simply remove the paper and just use a different one. It couldn't be easier than that. And then to further embellish my candle holders, I just used some washi tape in the same color scheme and some scrapbook paper that came from the same collection as the vellum to kind of help add a little bit of pop of color and a little bit of green to the candle holders. And basically here they are on my mantle. I think they look so beautiful and so high-end, for a project that was so easy and so quick to make as well. Next DIY project is how to make this adorable natural wreath, and I think it looks so pretty and perfect for a Scandinavian kind of inspired decor that I'm going for this year, like I said. And to start off this project, I'm using a grapevine wreath that you can find again in local craft stores or even garden centers. And basically I just scoured my garden for some greenery to add to this wreath. But if you haven't got a garden, if you haven't got these kinds of Christmassy looking plants and trees and ferns and whatnot, you can basically get these things from your local garden center. You can even ask to buy some offcuts or anything that they might be chucking away. You can reuse that, or ask a friendly neighbor who has a nice garden, some nice plants. Or alternatively, you could also use some faux greenery that you can buy at this time of year really easily. And basically, because this wreath was a grapevine wreath, I can just pretty much insert some of the branches directly into the wreath. I don't need anything to secure them in place. I really like working with this wreath. Out of all the wreaths that I have used in the past, like polystyrene or kind of like willow, this one is really cool. But I did find that some of the branches were trying to come off, so I just used a little bit of floral wire, as you can see here, to attach everything in place. Make sure obviously that your floral wire matches your greenery so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb when you're attaching everything together. And basically the idea is to cover as much of the front of the wreath as possible, but also leaving some of the brown peeking through, because like I said to you, I'm going for a natural look this year. So I wanted something that looked a little bit more organic, a little bit more rustic than I normally do. So you don't have to cover the whole thing if you're using a similar wreath. I think the beauty of it is to have the different contrasts of the different foliage with the browns as well. So don't be afraid to use things like eucalyptus, ferns and different greenery, and even like bay leaf branches I have used in the past as well, magnolia, laurel, or anything else that adds a little bit of structure and a bit of interest, because everything's going to look green anyway, so you want to have things that have different shapes and sizes and textures to add a little bit of interest, and basically just play around with it. I decided to cover most of it with that kind of dark green from a fern tree, and I just added little bits and bobs of different colors, you know, different shades of green. And what's also interesting that you could do for a wreath is to mix and match, you know, real leaves and real branches with some faux picks as well that you may have from, you know, from your local craft store, you know, your Dollar Tree and whatnot. And to finish the decor of my natural looking wreath, I wanted some berries, but I didn't want anything white, so I decided to make my own holly berries or Christmas berries. I don't know what these are called, but you know, the little white berries that you see all over Christmas wreaths this time of year. Anyway, so I made my own using some wooden beads and some floral wire. As you can see here, I took 3 beads and inserted into the wire and just twisted it in place to get a little tiny little pick. I think this matches my decor a lot better than if they were just, you know, white berries that you buy from the shops. Anyway, I think it looks so adorable, and I already had the beads at home, so I didn't have to go out and buy anything new. And basically just prick that through the wreath and voila, you know. It couldn't be simpler. And to finish it off, I added a piece of green ribbon to the top of my wreath and a couple of little cake toppers from my local craft store in this shape of this little deer and the little Christmas tree to complete the look. And the next DIY project is this gorgeous paper garland that I used to decorate the front of my mantle. And this garland started off as a kit, so basically these are, you know, pre-cut leaves that you buy in a pack. But if you can't find the same thing, and I'll be sure to leave the link down in the description box for you guys who live in France and want to recreate this project using the same products that I used. But if you can't find something similar in your local craft store, you can cut leaves by hand. Yes, I know it will take a little bit, you know, of time, but you know, if you just sit in front of the telly or watching a nice film, it will go pretty quickly. Or you can use a cutting machine like a Cricut, a Silhouette, you know, or a Sizzix, you know, to cut leaves and shapes. You know, basically use what you've got. But you could totally do this by hand using bits of paper that you already have at home, or even wrapping paper, you know, cardstock. But the technique would be the same. So basically you cut out your leaves and just take a piece of string. I'm using here brown string so to make sure you guys can see it properly on camera, but obviously the best thing to do is to use a string that will match your wall or your mantle decor so it doesn't stick out too much. Or you could even use a fishing line or something like a transparent wire or string. It works just as well. And the idea, basically, you just kind of superimpose the leaves, you know, trying to match the colors of your decor. Obviously here I'm using kind of like sage green, you know, a bit of a darker green, and gold, but you could use any color that you like that will suit your decor best. And I think this is once again another project that's super easy, quick to make if you're not cutting the leaves by hand, obviously. But it's also really easy, so you just need a little bit of hot glue and you kind of like mix and match how you want your garland to look. And last but not least, I'm going to share how I made this Christmas stocking, which looks so natural and so pretty, and it goes with the rest of my decor. Basically, this was the easiest DIY craft project in the history of crafts. The stocking I bought kind of like it's like a sacking material, I don't know, from my local craft store, and basically I just used some thermal tape and an iron to attach some pretty ribbon to the top of the stocking. Voila, the end. Literally, it was that quickly, you guys. So if you haven't got a sewing machine, can't be bothered to sew, but want to customize a pair of stockings, there's a little tip for you. Obviously, I'm just using the iron here as demonstration purposes, but in real life, I use a little piece of parchment paper in between the fabric and the iron. And there you have it, you guys, my beautiful natural looking Christmas mantle decor this year. I hope you guys enjoyed some of the ideas and feel inspired to have a go creating your own. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel and lets me know that you like this kind of content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.